Hello everyone, welcome. Today we are going to discuss a recent paper called Token Level Supervised Contrastive Learning for Punctuation Restoration. This paper is a collaboration between three different universities: Southern University of Science and Technology Shenzhen, China, University of Surrey, UK, and MIT IBM Watson Lab. And the authors are here. These are the authors. And the overview is as follows. First, we'll look at the introduction of the paper. Then we'll see the difference between contrastive learning and supervised contrastive learning. Then we'll see the proposed approach, and finally we'll see some experiments and results. If you are working in NLP or speech recognition, you would have heard of punctuation generation or restoration, sometimes also called as punctuation prediction. And the idea behind it is to predict punctuations for a given text data, right? So, and the assumption is the text will not have any punctuations or capitalization, and all you have to do is you have to predict punctuation for each slot. The slot is basically something after every word. If you have 10 words, you have to predict 10 punctuation in the sense that if there is no punctuation, you can predict that as that as also one of the class. And this kind of problems, I mean, if you are building a speech recognition pipeline, for example, usually the speech recognition model, unlike the ones which are recently proposed or people are moving towards, if you go back to the classical or even a few years, like 2019 or 2018, like the models people were building, usually it predicts only the words, right? And you have to do some sort of post processing in order to make the transcript or the output looks better, right? And so for that you can do many post processing techniques, for example punctuation prediction, and sometimes people also do inverse text normalization, which is basically converting a word sequence into or words into numbers if there are numbers, or dollar symbols or like currencies and so on, right? So anyway, what we are looking here in this paper is punctuation generation. And these days people usually use language models or language model fine tuning. For example, they take BERT, or like one of the famous or one of the good language model, right? And they just fine tune the model for punctuation, because the problem is an NLP problem, so, and it works really well. So in this paper, what they are proposing is to use a token level supervised contrastive loss. We will see what is supervised contrastive loss, because usually for unsupervised training or self-supervised training, people you must have seen contrastive learning loss, but in this paper we'll see how supervised contrastive loss is proposed. And that basically maximizes the distance of the representations of different punctuation marks in the embedding space. What I mean is, we'll understand this in detail, but the meaning is very simple. Let's say you have some data points in some higher dimensional embedding space, and all I want to do is I want to minimize the distance between the representations of the punctuations within the same class, and I want to maximize the distance of different classes. So basically this is something like triplet loss, right? So basically that's the basic idea of the supervised contrastive loss. We'll see how that is actually implemented in an equation or a loss function in the coming slide. But the basic idea is very simple. You want to minimize, you want to pull together the representations of the similar punctuations and push apart the representations of different punctuation marks, right, or classes, right? That's the whole idea, and we'll see how this is included along with the contrastive learning or contrastive not contrastive, like cross entropy loss, in order to train the model for better classification. And we'll see that using this approach you can get 3.2% absolute improvement in F1 score and on the test data. So we will see that in the result section anyway. Now let's understand what is the difference between a contrastive loss and supervised contrastive loss, right? I mean, if these days many fields, including NLP, speech, and computer vision, they are all moving towards something called self-supervised learning. So basically the idea of self-supervised learning is to learn some high-level representations using unlabeled data, and then you can fine-tune those architectures with a very little amount of labeled data. And the basic idea is the self-supervised loss functions are able to train train the model such a way that they have very good knowledge of the data which is learned using unlabeled data, and that gives you a good starting point for training the classifier, right? And very simple example I can give you for contrastive learning. Assume we are in unsupervised contrastive learning scenario. Imagine you have an audio, right? And this is the audio signal, for example, right? And usually when I say audio, you will have a database, and usually every database will have multiple speakers, multiple audio recordings, and so on, right? So imagine you have two audio clips, right? And one is speaker 1 and another is speaker 2. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to train a model such a way that the model will be able to minimize or learn representations for segments which are coming from the same audio. Let me put it this way. So let's say you have one audio and another audio. One audio is speaker 1 and another audio is speaker 2, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to process one part of this audio, right? And similarly I have different parts of this audio, and I also have different parts of this audio. So what I want to tell the model is, I want to tell the model, okay, learn some representation for this segment and learn some representation for this segment, and make sure the representations of these two representations are similar or close to each other, whereas the representation of this and this are far from the segments from different audio clip, which is from speaker 2. So that is one of the supervision you can tell the model. And here we are not using any labeled data. We are just using the unlabeled data and somehow contrasting different parts of the audio, and that way the model is able to learn some high level representations of the audio signal, right? So which is exactly here. So if the audio example is not clear to you, let's take an example of image, right? So let's say I have an image, and image is a dog image, right? You somehow add some sort of a color or so just augment this image into multiple images, right? So let's say you augment into 3 different images, and you also have image of a cat, right? And let's say you have augmented the image of cat also as 3 different images. Now I'll tell the model to minimize or to make the representations of different make the representations of the dog images which will have different augmentations to be close, whereas the representations of the cat and dog to be far, right? So that's how I guide the models. How do you do that? Using very simple contrastive loss, which is shown here. So where Zi is a hidden vector, right? It's a vector which is of some x dimension, and Zj is also a vector which is of the same class, right? Here is the cat and cat. One of them is original cat, another is augmented cat. I want to minimize, or I want to make sure they are close, whereas this Zi is actually, whereas this Zi, I want that to be far from all other images other than dog, for example, right? So that is the contrastive loss. Here you don't need any supervision. You don't have any label. You just have the database. And I told you you have I told you it's a cat image and dog image, but in general there will be no cat, there will be no labels, right? It's just one image with respect to all other images, right? So that's how it is done. And similarly in audio case as well. So that is unsupervised contrastive learning scenario, and which is actually shown here. Let's say you have an encoder, you feed input which could be audio or image, and you learn some representation Ri. So Ri is actually the ith, they call it anchor representation, and I want the anchor representation and the positive representations to be close, whereas these anchor representations and the other images or other segments of the audio to be far, right? And that's the contrastive loss here, right? This is a simple unsupervised contrastive loss scenario. Now let's look at the supervised contrastive loss scenario, where you have the labels, you know the labels for each input, right? And this could be a label, I mean this could be image or audio, anything, but let's just assume you have some data points right here. As you can see here, you have data points or representations, right? These are like r1, r2, r3 and so on, right? And I know which representations belong to which class because it's a supervised scenario. So if I know, I will know whether it's a cat image or it's a dog image and so on, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure these representations are close, right? So they kind of forms a cluster, and these green representations are kind of forming a cluster, and also these other these two are far, like the clusters are kind of far, right? So this is the supervised scenario because you know the label, and this is kind of similar to triplet loss, right? In face recognition you must have seen triplet loss. It's been used in speech also, but this is exactly similar to triplet loss. And f here is some kind of a similarity function. It could be a cosine distance or any other similarity metrics you want to use on these embedding vectors, right? And also the formulation is kind of different here compared to supervised unsupervised case. So here P is basically it's a kind of a set of all the images or all the data points which are similar to the anchor image, right? And I is basically, the capital I is a number of anchor images, means the number of classes, right? In that batch or mini batch, right? And as I said, this is again contrastive loss, right? But in this case you are kind of making sure the images or the data points within the class are kind of similar or together, yeah. So that is about that's mostly the supervised contrastive loss setting. Now what we are going to discuss is the proposed approach, in which we will see how this supervised loss or supervised contrastive loss is also included along with cross entropy loss. So the problem here we are kind of trying to solve, or punctuation prediction, is a classification problem, right? For every word I want to predict a punctuation, right? So for every word it can be a punctuation like comma, full stop, or question mark, or it could be no punctuation, right? Because in a sentence most of the words will have no punctuation, but only few words will have punctuations, right? And that is the main goal here. Like even without supervised contrastive loss, you can simply add a contrastive loss or the cross entropy loss, and just train the model, and it works really well, right? Adding this supervised contrastive loss kind of gives you improvements over the baseline approach, but the whole idea of punctuation prediction or punctuation restoration is to predict punctuations for a given transcript, right? As you can see here, you have x1, x2, x3 and so on. These are like words. Assume these are words. Usually if you're using something like BERT or other types of transformers, you will tokenize at different levels, but just assume these are words, right? And then you have representations, which are basically the outputs of these large pre-trained transformers, right? For example, BERT, right? And then you simply apply a linear layer on top of these embeddings and just predict the class one out of 4 or one of the 4 labels, right? So basically it's a softmax with 4 outputs, right? And this is how you predict. And as you can see, the labels are marked here in different colors. As you can see, like green should go together, yellow should go together, and so on, right? And as you know, the supervised contrastive loss is applied on top of the embeddings, not on the outputs, but the outputs will use it for classification, right? Using cross entropy loss, right? And we just add those two losses using some lambda scaling, right? So the lambda is just a number. We will see like what is the optimal number for lambda. And then you have cross entropy loss, which is simple cross entropy loss, as you all know. And you have a CL loss, which is supervised contrastive loss, which we defined in the previous section, right? So that is all. Like that's the whole idea of this paper. Now let's look at the experiments. So usually people who propose, or people who write papers on punctuations, usually use the AWSLT TED Talk dataset, which has like 2.1 million words, and for training, and 295,000 words for validation, right? And for tests they have 12,000 words, right? and they also have ASR track where the input or the data, the actual text will be output from the ASR model, not the ground truth transcripts, right? And the distribution of the data is as follows. You have 85% of the data is only no punctuations, which is called OE here, and comma is about 7.53%. Period is which is full stop, is around 6%, and question mark is very very small, just less than 0.5% of the whole data. Okay, this is the main table. This is the results section. So basically they measure three different metrics: precision, recall, and F1 score, right? And they have shown different models, the previous approaches results as well here. As you can see, bidirectional recurrent neural network, BLSTM, C with CRF combination, teacher ensemble, self-attention, multitask learning, and this is the base model which is simply a transformer along with a classifier, right? It's just a linear classifier. Performs performs decently compared to previous approaches which uses like LSTMs and recurrent neural networks type of models, right? And adding focal loss kind of gives you better accuracy. And finally token level SEL, as you can see, works most of the time, gives you better results for question mark and F1 score, better overall F1 score, better overall F1 score, as you can see. And like this is like one of the I would say not exactly state of the art, because I have seen a few models which have, I think, more than 83%. I don't remember the paper name exactly, but I think there is another approach. Not sure exactly like what is the paper name, but I think I have seen one of the paper which kind of gets you 84 point something F1 score, overall F1 score. But anyway, so as you can see, you're already getting very good performance compared to the just baseline model. That means adding focal loss is kind of improves your overall system performance. And how much it improves, as you can see here, it's pretty good. I mean, more than 3% absolute improvement in accuracy. In terms of F1 score. If you use base BERT, you'll get 79%, and if you use Roberta large and Roberta base, as you can see, you're already getting like 2 and almost 3% absolute improvement in the F1 score. And this is just the Debit distribution, and that's pretty much it. So thank you so much for watching this tutorial. I know it is kind of a short tutorial, but this is like I think one of the few NLP papers I think I have made tutorials about. But I think in future I will also look more into the NLP papers, and I think the NLP community is kind of large. I mean, the number of people who work in NLP are more compared to speech, obviously. So thank you so much for watching this tutorial, and see you soon.